dear learners. How are you all? I hope you all are going very well. Today, we are here with a new session of Class 4 Science, and chapter is 11, that is Air, Water, and Weather. Okay, so students, in this session today, we are going to explore the two basic necessities of our life. Because of the presence of these two things only, the life is possible on the earth. Okay, so let's start the chapter. See, so first of all, student, the learning objectives or the topic which we are going to cover in this session is, first of all, role of the sun in weather changes. Means, what is the role of the sun, a celestial object, in the weather changes which takes place around us. Then secondly, we are going to learn about air, then water, and also the very important concept of water cycle. Okay, so let's learn about all of them one by one. See, first of all, they have given you that look at the pictures given below, identify the weather, and write their names in the space provided. So, students, they have given you some what? Pictures of different types of weathers. You have to identify them and then you have to write their names in the section given you. So, you can see in the first picture, this is the hot sunny day. Okay, so we can write that it is what? You have to write the weather. So, this is sunny day. Okay, this type of weather is known as sunny day when the sun is shining brightly in the sky. Secondly, over here we can see this is what? This is a rainy day as the rain is going on, right? So we will write over here rainy day. Okay. Then in this you can see the weather is cool and pleasant. Okay. So this is what? This is cold day, right? So these are the different types of weathers which you can see. So what is weather? Weather is the physical state of the atmosphere given at a time described in terms of airs, clouds, air pressure, humidity, rain and sunshine of a place. What they say? Weather is a physical state. It is a day-to-day condition of a particular place at a particular point of time which can be described in terms of air, clouds, air pressure, humidity, okay, rain and sunshine. So most of our day-to-day students, most of our day-to-day activities, they are influenced by the change in weather. And these changes in the weather, they occurs due to what? The sun only. Why? Because the sun's heat causes the movement of air. Okay, the movement of air is caused due to the sun only. It gives rise to winds and then only we can say that it is a windy day. Okay. Also along with that, the sun causes changes in the states of water also. Okay. The changes in the condition of air, water at a particular place, these changes only cause the changes in the overall weather of a particular place. And then the most of our day-to-day activities are influenced by these changes in weather only. Okay? Now, first of all, as I told you, that the sun has a very important role in the weather changes. Now, what is their role? Let's discuss about that. The sun plays a vital role in changing the weather condition. As I told you, see, as we know that the Earth, our home planet, it moves around the sun. Okay, and this motion of Earth around the sun in its fixed path is called revolution, right? Now, while revolving, that means when the Earth is revolving around the sun, the part of the Earth nearer to the sun, that particular part of the Earth which is nearer to the sun during the revolution, over that part, it has warmer and longer days. So we can say that in that particular part, there is summer at that particular time. And the other part of the earth, which is away from the sun, at the same time, it will have colder and shorter days, and hence we can say that there is winter in this part. So, like this, only the revolution of the earth around the sun causes changes in the seasons. Okay? See, now there is one another type of movement also which the earth shows, that is rotation. We have discussed in some of our previous session also that the earth majorly shows two types of movement. Number one, it rotates, it moves around its own axis. Axis is what? Axis is an imaginary line which we consider that it passes from center of the earth, right? And on this imaginary line and on this axis only, the earth moves around like a top. This movement of the earth around its axis is called rotation. Okay, so the earth also rotates on its axis. And this movement of earth is called what? Rotation. How much time period? Around 24 hours of time period is taken by the earth to complete one rotation. Okay, see, due to revolution of the earth, there were changes in season. But due to rotation of the earth, there is day and night cost. Okay, we know days are warmer while nights are cooler. Okay, at the noon time when the sun is over the head, the sun rays are directly on our head. Over that time, there is too hot. And while in the morning and evening time, when the sun rays are not directly above our head, they are slanting rays, the sun is low in the sky, at that time it feels cooler as compared to the noon time. Okay, so hence we can say this daily rotation of the earth causes effects in the weather also. Now, winds are caused by the sun heat. This we have discussed that the winds are also caused by the heat of the sun only. See how the sun heats the air, okay, which makes the air warmer and lighter. See, because of the heat, the sun, sorry, the air becomes warmer and lighter. And when it becomes warmer and lighter, it goes up. And the cooler air, which is heavier as compared to this warmer air, it goes down. And this mixing of air only creates winds. Okay? The heat of the sun also changes the states of water in air. Okay? And the nature and causes changes in weather. Right? Now, so let's talk about first of all air. What is air? It is one of the primary elements which makes life possible on the earth. Right? We all need air to live. Now, what is air? It is a mixture of many gases. And beside the gases, the air also has water vapor and some small particles of dust. Okay? The earth is surrounded by a thin blanket of air. Now, around the earth, there is a thin blanket of air which is called atmosphere. Students, we cannot see air, we cannot touch the air, we can only feel it. And that also when the air blows, when the air moves, then only we can feel it. And this movement of air causes wind. Okay, and due to this movement of wind also, it affects the weather conditions of a particular place. Okay, now next we have the concept of sea and land breeze. See, both land and water are heated by the sun. We know that due to the sun heat, both land and water surfaces are heat up. However, the land surface gets heat up faster as compared to water. Okay, and land surface also cools down faster as compared to the water. And this cooling and heating of the land and water, due to this cooling and heating of the land and water, that gives rise to two types of breezes, that is sea breeze and land breeze, and they mainly occurs in the coastal regions. Okay, see, during the daytime, first of all, during the daytime, the sea is cool, right? And the land is warm due to the sun heat. Okay. Now, as we know that hot air above the land, the air which is above the land, it is hot, and due to becoming warmer, it rises up, and the cool air which is above the sea, it rushes to take the vacant place of the air above the land. Okay, they are saying hot air above the land rises up, and the cool air which is above the sea, it blows towards the land to take the vacant place. So this movement of breeze from the sea towards the land during the day is called sea breeze. So if we ask you that when does the sea breeze occurs? So during the daytime. Okay. What is sea breeze? The movement of breeze from where? From the sea towards the land. Okay, during the daytime. This is called sea breeze. Okay. Now, next is during the night time. Now there is another type of breeze also which occurs during the night time. Okay, as we have discussed that during the night time the ground or the land cools more quickly as compared to the sea, and the sea stays warm. Okay, so now the warmer air which is above the sea rises. Now the air which is warmer, that is above the sea, so warmer air rises up. That means the air which is above the sea, it will rise up, and the cool air which is above the land, it will rush to replace the air above the sea. And this is how now the wind blows from the land to the sea. This is just reverse of the land breeze. Okay, and the movement of breeze from the land towards the sea at night is called land breeze. I told you this is just opposite of the sea breeze. Okay, so the movement of breeze, now the breeze is moving from where? From the land to the sea during the night time. Okay, this is called what? Land breeze. Okay, now next we have the concept of water. So water is also one of the basic and essential need of survival of life on the earth. And we have already discussed that about 2/3 of the earth is covered with water. But most of the water is present in seas and ocean. And the water which is present in seas and ocean is salty water that is not good for our consumption. Now there are some other water bodies also, that is lake, river, wells and underground reservoirs where the water is found. And then we have the heat of the sun, we can because of which the states of water can be easily changed. So for that, we have first topic, that is evaporation. What is evaporation? Evaporation is a process by which the water state or the liquid state can be changed into gaseous state on heating. That is called evaporation. And in nature also this process takes place. How? The sun heat. Due to the sun heat, the water converts into water vapor, which is called evaporation. Okay. So when the weather is warm, that means when the weather is warm, water from the bodies of water, okay, means the water which is present in the different water bodies, this water gets evaporated due to the heat of the sun, and then it mixes with the air, which adds moisture in the air, making the air around us humid. Okay. Now this process of evaporation depends upon some factors. That means the rate of evaporation gets changed. Sometimes it may be slow or sometimes it may be fast due to certain factors. Now what are those factors? Number one is wind. Okay, that means when the weather is windy, evaporation rate becomes faster. Why? Because this moving wind absorbs water quickly. Second, we have temperature. Okay, when the sun shines brightly, or we can say when the temperature is high, then also evaporation is faster. Okay, third, we have dry air. Okay, that means evaporation takes place faster when the air is dry, when there is low humidity in the atmosphere. Then also the evaporation rates become faster. Why? Because the dry air can take up more water as compared to the moist air. Then next we have surface area. Okay, if the exposed surface area is also large, then also the evaporation rate becomes faster. So that means wind, temperature, dry air, and surface area. These are the four factors on which the evaporation rate is dependent upon. Okay. Now next we have what? The process of condensation. So condensation is the process by which water vapor in the air is changed into liquid water. So then this is just the reverse process of evaporation. In evaporation, the water changes into water vapor on heating, and in condensation, the water vapor again comes back to the liquid state, to the water state on cooling. This is called condensation. Okay, it is the opposite of evaporation. I told you, right? See, as the water vapor rises up in the air, as the water vapor will rise up in the air due to warmness, it will condense into tiny droplets. Why? Because at the higher altitudes, the temperature is low. So, due to that, the water vapor, which are warmer, they get cooled up and then they again becomes into water droplets. And then these droplets join to form clouds. All these droplets, when they go to the higher altitudes, they reach over there, they all together join to form the clouds in the sky. Okay? When the clouds become very heavy, the water vapor transform into water. So when these clouds become very heavy, these all water vapors transforms into water and then they fall down as a form of rain. Okay, then we have some other also like fog, dew, frost. All these are formed by the process of condensation only in our nature. Let's see how. So first of all, we have rain. So when water evaporates, means the water changes into water vapor, it will rise up. Okay, and this water vapor cools as it goes up. I told you. And then on reaching the high altitude, it will again change into tiny droplets of water by the process of condensation. Okay, then these droplets, all droplets join together to form clouds, and when these clouds become very heavy due to these water droplets, they are not more able to hold the water, they just fall down as a rain. Okay, secondly, we have what? Fog also. This is rain, this is fog. See, when water vapor, see, when the water vapor present in the air, it get mixed with very cold air. Okay, it will change into drops of water and then it will form a blanket of cloud just above the water or land, and we call this blanket of cloud as a fog. Okay. Now next we have what? Dew. So in winters usually you must have observed this dew. And how does it form? When water vapor in the air, the water vapor present in the air, when it get condenses on touching any cold surfaces, right? Then the small drops of water are formed, which is known as dew. Next, we have frost. Frost occurs when it is very cold. Okay, so when it is very cold, the dew or the surface water gets freezed up into tiny white crystals, which is called frost. You can see this is dew and this is frost. Then next we have hail. When raindrops pass through a very cold region of the atmosphere, means when the rain is falling down and when it passes through a very cold region of the atmosphere, it will freeze up and it will form hail over there like this. And then the next we have snow. When water vapor turns directly into ice, ever passing through a liquid state. Means when all the water vapor in the air gets directly turned into ice without passing the state of liquid, then the snow is formed. And this happens as water condenses around an ice crystal. Okay? So that was all the different forms of what our different weather conditions or the different forms of rain which are formed due to the condensation process. Next, we have what? Water cycle. So, the process of evaporation and condensation takes place continuously in nature. These two processes, evaporation and condensation, they continuously occurs in our nature. And this process is only known as water cycle. Okay, actually the water vapor which is present in different water bodies like lake, rivers, seas and oceans, this all water evaporated due to the heat of the sun, and then when it reaches at higher altitude, it gets condenses to form what? Clouds. Same procedure. Then these clouds, when they become very heavy, when they're not anymore able to hold these water droplets, okay, they fall down as precipitation in the form of rain, sleet, hail or snow. And then all these different forms fill the water bodies again, and then the same process goes on. This continuous cycle only is known as water cycle, okay, which goes in our nature. Next, we have water impurities and their purification. So, students, for the purpose of drinking, water is supposed to be pure and clean. However, the water in a well, river, or lake is not pure. Why? Because it contains impurities. Okay, and along with that, it also contains some germs. So, therefore, it is necessary that such a water needs to be cleaned before the consumption. Okay, now these impurities which are there in the water, they are of two types, that is soluble or insoluble. First of all, we have soluble impurities. These are those impurities which cannot be seen, they dissolve in the water like salt. And the other, we have insoluble impurities which do not dissolve in water and they can be easily seen, like we have sticks, mud, stone, etc. So basically, insoluble impurities in water, they can be removed by some of the methods which they have discussed with us. Okay, see. So first of all, we have sedimentation. So sedimentation is what? It is a settling of heavy insoluble impurities in water. That means if you have a container full of impure water in which there are insoluble impurities dissolved. So you just let it down, you just stay it down for some time without disturbing it. What you will observe? All the heavy insoluble impurities will settle down as a layer at the bottom of the container. This is what is known as sedimentation. Okay, and this method is used to remove sand from water, right? The next method is decantation. See, it is just the next step after sedimentation. Means when all the sand-like heavy insoluble impurities have been settled down at the bottom of the container, then what you will see? You will see that the clean water, it has formed another layer over that sand layer. Okay, which is known as what? This layer of sand is known as sediment, and the above which you have got, that is known as what? Filtrate. What you can do, you can just pump that water into another container, leaving all that sand behind. This process is called what? Decantation process. Okay. Then next we have another method, that is filtration method. So at home we commonly use this method. How? When we pour the tea. For pouring the tea, what you use? You use a device called strainer. For what? To filter it. Right? In school labs also, students filter with filter paper to get rid of unsightly impurities. Right? Similarly, the earth's surface water also filter when it moves through the various layer of the soil to become groundwater. Okay? Though underground water or water from other sources may appear clean, it can have soluble impurities. Okay, you must see, you have seen that the underground water or the water which you have get from any other source, it might appear clean to you, but it still have some impurities, dissolved impurities in that. Okay, and all these are known as soluble impurities. Now soluble impurities in water can be removed by boiling it. So simply, just to remove the soluble impurities, we can use a method of boiling. Why? Because boiling kills the germs present in the water. Then we have certain chemicals also, like chlorine, bleaching powder, or potassium permanganate. All these chemicals also can be added to the water to kill the germs present in it, which are soluble. Okay, so like this we can remove the soluble and also the insoluble impurities present in the water. Okay, we have discussed the methods for removing them. So the chapter is completed over here. That was all about the basic necessities of life which we require in our life, right? So as they are very important, so try to save them, try to conserve them. Okay, so let's meet in the next session with a new and exciting topic. Till then, keep going well, learn well, and thanks to everyone.